Evening, Razorcade. Fake News 81. Meta unwinds the Manus deal, Beijing data retreats. 88,000 jobs vanish. AI cites the axe. The workforce con comes as a stack to 2008. Systemic risk mounts. Xiaomi grease rolls. Through floss accelerates. Readers at Connor trains. 3 encounter just through flaves.
The top story originates from corporate restructuring and geopolitical compliance. Meta has reportedly moved to unwind its $2 billion Manus acquisition following direct demands from Beijing. The transaction collapses under sovereign pressure rather than technical failure. Engineering pipelines will pivot toward domestic partnerships as cross-border capital flows encounter regulatory firewalls. The deal unwinds. The demands issue, the transaction collapses. The pipelines pivot.
This capital retreat demonstrates the complete subordination of artificial intelligence development to state security frameworks. Frontier model providers will abandon transnational acquisitions in favor of sovereign infrastructure builds. Procurement strategies will prioritize political alignment over raw computational capability. The global artificial intelligence market fractures into isolated economic zones where compliance dictates architecture. The retreat...
Story 2, labor market analysis reveals employers cited artificial intelligence for 88,000 job reductions between January and May of this year alone. The figure represents a 60% acceleration from the previous calendar year. Workforce automation transitions from experimental pilot programs to mandatory operational directives. Human capital management algorithms will be sponsor to speculate through a substitution, while traditional for stimulus.
Canadian leadership has formally compared the current artificial intelligence infrastructure to the systemic risks that precipitated the 2008 financial crisis. Central banks will monitor algorithmic credit expansion and synthetic debt cycles as primary indicators of macroeconomic instability. Regulatory frameworks will pivot toward auditing model dependency rather than tracking traditional leverage ratios.
Story 3. United States export controls on frontier models have ignited a comprehensive strategic review across Indian technology policy. The National Artificial Intelligence Initiative will prioritize domestic model training and sovereign compute clusters to eliminate dependency on American inference endpoints. Engineering ecosystems will develop localized training data pipelines and indigenous hardware accelerators. The controls
This sovereign pivot accelerates the fragmentation of the global artificial intelligence supply chain. Regional technology hubs will construct independent model zoos and proprietary tool chains optimized for local linguistic and regulatory environments. Cross-border API integrations will decline as national security frameworks mandate air-gapped inference environments. The unified cloud standard dissolves into a mosaic of competing computational architectures. The pivot
Home Lab. Xiaomi has deployed MiMo v2.5 utilizing the DFlash persistent kernel architecture, achieving sustained throughput rates between 1,000 and 3,000 tokens per second. The open source release will enable local operators to run frontier scale models on consumer hardware without enterprise storage bottlenecks. Local deployment pipelines working to eliminate disk I/O latency during active.
Consumer hardware configurations should prioritize high-speed NVMe storage and persistent memory allocation to maximize the DFlash kernel efficiency. The architecture bypasses traditional page caching by maintaining model weights directly in active memory space. Inference latency drops below human conversation thresholds while hardware costs remain accessible to independent operators. The local laboratory transitions from experimental sandbox to production-grade computational node configuration.
Speculation time. The convergence of sovereign capital restrictions, accelerated workforce automation, and infrastructure dependency audits creates a volatile computational economy. Artificial intelligence deployment will transition from a growth investment vehicle to a systemic leverage instrument. Financial institutions will talk model access and inference credits, creating synthetic derivatives that amplify underlying hardware scarcity. The convergence.
My prediction. Within 24 months, artificial intelligence compute will function as the primary collateral for global credit markets. Algorithmic risk models will replace traditional stress tests, triggering automatic liquidity freezes when sovereign compliance thresholds breach predefined parameters. The financial system becomes a direct extent of the inference stack, where technical debt translates instantly into macroeconomic correction. The prediction sets. Compute becomes collateral, models replace tests, the system extends. Okay.
That is your lot. I'm Razorcade. Meta unwinds the deal. Beijing demands compliance. The jobs vanish. The stack risks collapse. The controls ignite. The sovereignty pivots. Xiaomi pushes the kernel. Throughput triples. The garden walls. The capital flees. The jobs disappear. The throughput spikes. The leverage mounts. The collateral locks. See you tomorrow, if tomorrow exists.